Castle Rock has cracked the top 10 cities nationwide for quality of life. Hey everybody, it is Alyson Wall, your real estate strategist and realtor for the South Denver area. Out of 500 cities ranked across the country, Castle Rock came in number 6, even beating out Boulder. And if you know Colorado at all, for any place to beat out Boulder for best places to live in the state, that is a hard thing to do. So let's dive into why Colorado is so high on the charts and give you the scoop. First of all, Castle Rock ranking at number 6 isn't random. They have been ranking tops of lists for quite a while. This one, the number 6 on alonstarter.com, totally obscure ranking, but it just reinforces what Castle Rock has in terms of historical rankings. Wallet Hub, a much more well-known ranking site, had Castle Rock in the top 1% of all cities last year. And Forbes and Money Magazine have also put it as one of the best places to live. Now, rankings are all well and good, right? It's like going to that top-rated restaurant on a vacation in a new city. You don't know what you're going to get and you leave utterly disappointed. Is that going to be the case for Castle Rock? In my opinion, for years and years of living here and selling homes, I give a resounding no. I think Castle Rock 100% lives up to the hype. It is a fantastic place to be, and it is for a number of reasons we're going to talk about today. It delivers on value. It delivers big on small town charm, including that feel of safety, a sense of knowing people around you, a downtown that has events. There's the convenience factor. You have top amenities right outside the door at your doorstep. And Castle Rock delivers big time on the sense of feeling like you live in Colorado. I know it seems like a no-brainer, like you think if you get here, everything should feel like what you see on TV, or if you've just dropped in to go to the mountains. But for anyone who has driven into the state from the east, you know that you have to come quite far into Colorado before you ever even see the Rockies. And there are places in Denver, along the Front Range, in Fort Collins, in Colorado Springs, where you're not going to see the mountains and you're like, am I really in Colorado? Castle Rock delivers on that feeling of mountains, rolling terrain, pine trees, wildlife, breathing room, good hikes. It is a quintessentially Colorado place to live, and that is a huge part of its attraction. Wrap that up with the first thing I mentioned, which is value, and this is why it's ranking so high over and over and over again. The essence of Castle Rock is that it doesn't feel like a suburb of Denver. And that's not a far reach. I mean, it is the farthest south suburb from Denver that you can get. So that's going to play into one of the cons, the distance. But you do get rolling terrain, you get bluffs, you get ravines, you get ridgeline, you get paved trails, gravel trails, places to bike ride, places to walk, places to grab your White Peak mountain views, even from your house, not just from your hikes. There is, of course, the prominent and oh so cool Castle Rock itself, from which the town gets its name. It is a hikeable formation. The town tells you not to climb it. People do. People have also fallen off of it and gotten injured. One person got killed in recent history, so I am not going to tell you to climb it, but it is a hikeable area. It is a really cool thing to be able to see from all around Castle Rock. And the general topography of the area really shapes and gives character to each of the neighborhoods. Right? Some neighborhoods are a little more flat. They've got meadows, ravines, you've got rock formations from Castlewood Canyon. That's over more in the southeast. You've got the meadows where you've got some rolling terrain, some trails, a ridge line. You get higher up on your rolling terrain and you're one of the lucky houses that sits on the bluff edge and you get Rocky Mountain views. We've got areas that are just nice and rolling open meadow, maybe some acreage. There is a lot of variety in here, including some dense tree coverage. And the options really bring the character to what you can find in Castle Rock. Now, Castle Rock is huge. It is a large territory town and it is split by I-25. So knowing where you want to be in a town this size, where you want to be relative to I-25, do you want to be north? Do you want to be south? That matters. But despite having the highway run right through town, there is still a lot of open space, neighborhoods that open right up to trails, 130 miles of trails in Castle Rock, and a lot of wildlife sightings. You're gonna see the coyotes, the deer, the occasional bear, the hawks, the eagles. I at least see eagles in my neighborhood. I'm assuming they have certainly the distance to travel down that way. and you really get a sense of nature and convenience. It is really so wonderful. Now, how do you pick a neighborhood? It is definitely not one size fits all. So there are different categories of lifestyle that you could find within Castle Rock. So you could certainly go with new build. There is quite an abundance of that. We have got Makanta. We've got Terrain still building out some new area. Cobblestone Ranch is popping in some new stuff. You've got Montaigne and its neighboring Crystal Valley Ranch. So there is a lot of opportunity to pick up something new, and there is more coming. So all of those are what's currently there, available. You could drop in the next couple weeks and pick up a home. If you're plotting out your future, we've got Dawson Trails coming. There's an entirely new area that's just been annexed that'll be built over the next few years. So you have got options. The nice thing is each of these new communities feels totally different. Different terrain, a different vibe. You're going to, in addition to needing to put in your own landscaping to get that privacy in your yard, you're gonna feel a difference within the community itself. But you're going to have those amenities like the HOA, a pool, people who are trying to meet each other, build a network, meet other people. You'll have that freshness, that newness. With that means not a lot of trees that are super mature in the neighborhood, but there is something different about that fresh feel in a new community. You've got the established master plan communities. The Meadows is the flagship of these. It is sitting to the north of town. It is close to the outlets, close to the hospital. It has schools inside the neighborhood. You've got trails, the mountain views, parks, pools. You've got access to Philip S. Miller Park that you can get to by trail, bike, walk, hike. It's so close. There is a golf course that is just to the south, not in the Meadows, but it's Red Hawk and super close by. Everything you kind of want when people talk about what their preferences are for a neighborhood, that is it. Unless you're looking for something that's age restricted or acreage and privacy. Next, you've got your luxury options. Castle Rock has a lot of luxury options. Castle Pines Village has a Castle Rock address, though we do consider it to be in Castle Pines because of where it sits. It's actually north of even the Meadows. But when we're pulling data for Castle Rock, those prices roll into the Castle Rock data. So it's important to at least consider that fact. We've got Escavera, we have got the Timbers, Diamond Ridge. And just like with the new builds, there is something completely different in the way each of these communities lives and feels. Castle Pines Village is going to be golf, mountain, trees, gated, very custom style and private. You get into Diamond Ridge Estates. It's elevated views, larger acre lots, Escavera, very select number of custom homes down in here, often very private, sunken in, dense trees. If you're gonna go for a luxury home, be very intentional, very thoughtful. We have seen the luxury market perform strong, where in other parts of the market we're being soft. And then we've seen it reverse, where other parts of the market were holding steady and the luxury side is softening up. So you really need to be in the long game with your luxury home, and you need to have the bandwidth financially to keep it up. You want it to always be in luxury condition, because when you're looking at percent of home price or percent of market, when it starts to fall, when people are putting in the cost of repairs on a luxury, oh my goodness, they slash so much, because someone who's going to come in and do the work on it is going to bring it back up to luxury standards, and that costs a lot. And so I see that the downside of owning luxury can be quite large if you don't plan well, if you don't choose your neighborhood well, if you don't plan out for your arc of ownership really well. And so I just encourage my folks to be really thoughtful on that and plan wisely. A subset of the luxury market would be our acreage and equestrian properties. These can be as small as 5 acres. They can go up to 20, sometimes 40. These are stunning properties with beautiful homes, and you have so much privacy once you have passed about that 15-acre mark. 5 acres sounds like a lot. You are seeing your neighbor's house without a problem. You're seeing their backyard. You're seeing if they store junk, especially if the HOA is pretty chill. So it's much nicer on the privacy scale when you get out into that 20-acre plus size. And if you are on some beautiful luxury acreage with rolling terrain, some views, those natural grasses that change colors with the seasons, it is really quite stunning. And Castle Rock delivers on that really well. Bell Mountain Ranch is a beautiful spot. Keene Ranch is a beautiful spot, and there are others. All right, if I have not been scratching your itch as I talk about land, acreage, you're thinking upkeep and mowing and fires and all the things that come with a lot of space, I have something for you. And that is the downtown. Castle Rock has a fantastic downtown. It has a nice walkable tone to it. They are really continuing to expand what the downtown livability, walkability is. And there are some wonderful condos that are just a couple years old, very high end, have some nice views. And on the other side of where the condos are, one street off, there is a very small historic home district. So if you want single family, small, and you love homes with character, you also have that right in that walkable space of downtown. So we really pack a punch in what Castle Rock offers. And then on top of that, they are really right now one of the havens for 55 plus living. More is coming. I have just done a video. You can check that one out here for what's coming on the north side of Denver. I have a couple more opportunities that we're going to see in 2026. But right now, if you want 55 plus living, you're going to find it generally in the new construction, build out. Castle Rock's the place to be. There are some older spots in Highlands Ranch, but what I am finding is that most of my clientele don't want to come in and remodel anything. It's doable to do that in other places in town, but that mental load, that work, that moving to a new place and then hiring contractors you're not familiar with is really unpalatable. And so the new build's the way to go. And there is a lot of that in Castle Rock in terms of opportunity. Now, a town does not win awards and accolades just for having good value and a bunch of different neighborhoods. It has got to deliver on something else, and that's usually lifestyle, and Castle Rock most certainly does. I've touched on a few of these throughout what we've talked about so far, but let's just make a list that you can hone in on. It has a fantastic outdoor lifestyle. The Philip S. Miller Park is one of the shining points in the community. It is tucked up against a ridge line. They have a great incline. Those have become very popular after, Manitou Incline is one of those massive goals that people say they really want to do. That one is a breath sucker. I mean, you have got to be in some good shape or really patient. And that's down toward Colorado Springs. But Parker now has an incline. This one over at Philip S. Miller Park, you've got an incline. And so you can just kind of get a good solid workout in over there. They have ninja ropes courses out. They have fun courses out. They do concerts in the park. It's a place to take the kids inside and do birthday parties. This is just really meant to be a community catch-all, active outdoor, evening lifestyle, places to bring the kids and connect. And it is easily accessible from the west side of town, so the Meadows, a few of the neighborhoods over there. And it's really a short drive from spots like Montaigne and Crystal Valley because they've added some nice connector roads. Aside from that park, that is not all that is there. Castlewood Canyon is out to the east toward Franktown. There is Dawson Buttes. You've got lots of hiking that is nearby in the foothills that are just outside Castle Rock. And the 130 miles of trails that is in the town, both the gravel and the paved, really give a lot of variety for being active. I'm a fan of the gravel trails. I love that natural feel under my feet when I am out for a walk. I love hearing nature. And usually you're a little more off the beaten path, so you've got a little bit more of the natural plant growth. You're more likely to see birds, maybe some prairie dogs. I like that part. But if you are anti-bug, anti-nature when you're outside, lots of paved travels and trails for you. The downtown piece of Castle Rock is really a thrill. They host events. They have a nice amount of locally owned restaurants. There are chains that are easy to get to, but so many folks love to frequent something that is local, small, unique, niche. And for all of the suburbs, when we're looking at Highlands Ranch, Lone Tree, Parker, Castle Rock, Castle Pines, I would say Castle Pines and Castle Rock really deliver on the small locally owned, and Castle Rock has good ones. When you're looking up ratings, you're thinking about where you want to go, I really find they do such a good job. I have got clients who live in suburbs that are not Castle Rock and drive to Castle Rock for the new bagel shop in Ecclesia, the coffee shops down there. And so there really is a thriving market for small businesses to grow and serve. In addition to that, you get 2 farmers markets every weekend in Castle Rock, not just one. Why? They're actually dueling farmers markets, but you get one on Saturday, one on Sunday, and the town also hosts big events like the Art Fest, the Star Lighting as we head into Christmas season, Oktoberfest, Restaurant Week. They have a car show weekend, and they do many more. So it's really nice to have this abundance of opportunity and connection in downtown. And then the neighborhoods often do their own things as well. You'll find over in the Meadows, they are doing all sorts of things throughout the year for the community. And they'll often have concerts where you can buy tickets and come on in and see those as well, even if you're not right in the community. Being so far south, one of the questions I get from families is, tell me how it is in terms of sports access, stuff for my kids. Is there a dance studio? Do I have to travel a lot? If your kid's at a high level, you're probably traveling anyway. It doesn't really matter where you live because the people, the teams, the clubs, whatever it is they're competing in is probably being spread all across the metro area. But if you're wanting to get into your practice studio, practice club, there's a lot in Castle Rock that will keep you from having to drive. The high-end dance studios, you're going toward downtown, maybe Littleton. Hockey, there's no ice in Castle Rock at this point in time, so you're gonna go north. But for most everything else, you don't really have to commute very far. For shopping, most people are coming to you in Castle Rock versus you going elsewhere. If you want the more high-end elite, then everyone's going to Cherry Creek North, but between the outlets and just the access you have for boutiques down in downtown Castle Rock, you really see a lot of people from the suburbs of Cross South Denver coming into Castle Rock. So you don't need to travel much for your shopping. Also, there is already a Sam's Club. Costco is going in. You have a Whole Foods. I am thinking, I have no word on this, but I am thinking a Trader Joe's may go in on that south end near where the Costco is. The town could certainly support one. If Parker has one, Castle Rock could support one. So that means the town would by then have a Sprouts, a Whole Foods, a Trader Joe's, a Sam's, and a Costco, plus the Target and everything else that it has. So it's really so self-containing. And healthcare wise, it is great. They have a hospital right inside the Meadows, so the north end of town. I have had clients who have needed to use this for serious life-threatening illnesses and have raved about the services and the doctors. The doctors are rotating out of the major hospitals up in the city, so they are seeing tough cases, doing tough surgeries all the time. They are staying top notch. The clinics and offices they have in there, same thing. These doctors are rotating in a couple days a week, going back up to the main medical centers in downtown. So they are always at the top level of their skill, according to the feedback I am getting from my folks who are needing to use this facility. I see the same thing in all of these suburban hospitals. There's one in Littleton, there's one in Lone Tree at Skyridge, there's a hospital in Parker, and we have the Children's Hospital Satellite Campus in Highlands Ranch. There's a Children's Satellite way up north, and then we have the main campus in Aurora for Children's Hospital. So we have really done a good job of filling up our suburbs so that they have the healthcare access that they need. All right, I have laid it on thick. I do love Castle Rock. You have heard so many of the things I love about it, but no place is perfect. So what are the cons? First up, that commute, the distance, being so far outside Denver. If you are not a family that is splitting a commute, say half of the family, half of the bread earners are going to Colorado Springs and half are going into Denver, which I see, this really may not be the ideal spot. Now, if you've got remote work, only one person's commuting, you're commuting part-time hybrid, then I think it's definitely worth considering given the value and the lifestyle. But if it's a 5-day a week, I have to go into Denver, I'm always going to the airport, it is the longest commute you're really going to get to any of those places, unless you're way far out toward Boulder, I would say. And then of course, outside of that, going to the Springs, going to Fort Collins. So it does stretch your commute times. Big downside. We're gonna talk about home values in a minute, but let's talk about property taxes right here. There is a wide swing in property tax across Castle Rock because older homes are gonna have much lower property taxes than anything that's newer and built under a metro district. So the newer the home, generally the higher the tax rate because the metro districts just keep having a higher tax rate the newer the build it seems to be. So you want to factor that into your budget, understand what that looks like as you're moving into any community. This is not a Castle Rock thing. This is everywhere. And as that development continues in these neighborhoods where we're seeing metro districts, if you're looking at land, a property, a lot, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so fantastic. Look at that open view. I love having no one behind me. I will pay $200,000 for that. You only want to pay that if you know no one's going to build on that. And even if the little bit of land behind you might stay open and you can guarantee it and you've checked with the town, you want to make sure that you know where the next set of building can be and how high, right? Because you may think you're not going to see rooftops ever, but all of a sudden you learn that land that's only 300 yards away can be apartments or townhomes or something else that's really dense and tall. So you really want to make sure you're doing your due diligence when you're paying a premium to have something that says it's going to be a view. Now, since we're on the topic of growth, let's talk about the downsides of growth. It means you're going to be in the middle of noise, dust, the constructing of new roads. We've just nearly finished the construction of a new overpass on the south end. There is just a lot that comes with the building of new infrastructure and new places. And I encourage my folks to consider being the first in on a new community because you get so much equity build. But with that can come the downside of being in a construction zone for a very long time. So there are certainly trade-offs. When we are doing all of this building in any community, we're seeing it in Parker, we see it in Castle Rock, we're seeing it in parts of Littleton. We're seeing more people, more traffic. We have more people to get power to. We've got new power grids to put into place, and we are seeing that. Castle Rock has approval to put in a new power grid over on the southeast side. And once we have the grid or the home base for it, that's going to be by Core Electric. That means they've got to run new lines, new poles. And so you also want to consider, am I buying something where I may be looking at power lines that aren't there yet, but they will be? And if you hate power lines, and a lot of people do, even if you don't, they can impact resale value, that is something else to consider. And as a side note, if you're looking at lots of areas across the Denver metro, ask these questions about the north side too. But Castle Pines just has permission that was recently granted to expand their lines off of the power base that is already existing in Castle Pines. Now, on the flip side, growth is growth and it brings in good things. You get brand new retail spaces, brand new stores, things that look new, things that are nice. The Costco I'm talking about, the Trader Joe's that my suspicions say is coming, but I have no proof. All sorts of great new things in town that add to convenience and add to home value. So you really have to just look at the pros and cons. Some folks don't want to be near any of it and they go to established communities and established trees and quiet and small roads, and others dive right into the middle of that and are all about it. I'm on board with you either way because both have their upsides. But let's talk about the value, home value, and what you're getting in Castle Rock. So when we're looking at our communities across South Denver, what we see is that Castle Rock really delivers just about the lowest median home price you're going to find. I did not pull every single one of them. I definitely didn't pull Lone Tree. It's going to push on the high side. I did pull Castle Pine since it's nearby. I didn't pull Littleton. Littleton has a lot of luxury and it is to the west side of town. It has a premium for being on the west side of town. But when you look here and you see Highlands Ranch, you see Castle Pines, you see Castle Rock, you see Parker and Castle Rock have a lot of similarities to them. Highlands Ranch and the Meadows have a lot of similarities to them. But what we see is on the median, you are getting more home for the money in Castle Rock. It is a lower price home down here, and they are generally larger. The average data, if I pull that, which I'm not showing here, but I've done this in previous videos, the average for Castle Rock tends to be higher, and it is because of the volume of large acre and luxury properties. That Castle Pines Village data pulls in and it pulls the price up, and we do have quite a bit of luxury property, so it pulls the average up. But that's why I like to look at median data so much. It tells you what your options are, where half of the people are buying. We've got so many homes in this segment. If Castle Rock is on your short list now because you're looking at this lifestyle and thinking that should cost way more per square foot than it is, please reach out. I would love to connect about this area, any of the other suburbs across South Denver, and let's make sure you're making the right move. And I will see y'all next week.